Um, I found when I read about you having alopecia, I will be honest, I was quite surprised
Yeah.
because for those of you who don't know, alopecia is hair loss essentially.
Yeah.
And most of the times I've heard about it or read about it, it's normally people who are much older.
Yeah.
So in a way, you would say like the same way men go bald, start to bald when they're older, a lot of women start to lose their hair.
Yeah.
And normally it happens when you're younger if there's a lot of stress involved, apparently, from what I've read.
Okay.
Stress is a key factor
Yeah.
for alopecia. So I was really surprised when
Yeah.
I read that that was one of the things that you're still battling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it is.
when did that start?
Wow. So hair loss, I think the first time I ever lost hair was maybe third year of campus. And I lost, because there's so many different types of hair loss actually. It's not,
Yes.
yeah. You know, when you've never lost your hair, of course it's not something you really think about. So I started losing it in like little patches. And so I went to a dermatologist and, you know, I got medication. And then it stopped and my hair was just back to normal.
Okay.
And then a couple of years back, gosh, it's been a while now, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, that's when I started losing my hair again. But it was different this time. It was like, almost like how a man would, you know, that baldness that kind of happens at the crown area, that's what started to happen to me. Just started to thin. And then
And
it
you
was
could
like,
really tell.
yeah, like because I had, at the time I had cut off all my hair.
Okay.
And then, so then it was very evident. It was like, I'm losing my hair. And I didn't know why. And so, you know, you go on the internet, you know, you go to dermatologists and all these things. And the sum total actually is just that there are no known causes actually of pattern hair loss in women. There's no known cause, like a specific thing. It's known that certain things may aggravate it, stress, and yeah, certain things, even chemicals, because chemicals might aggravate the situation,
yes,
but it's not known what
depending.
specific thing causes it. In
Because
some
in
people
some
it's
cases
genetic.
it's scarring on the scalp
Yeah,
as well.
it actually scars, yeah. Because there are cases where you lose your hair and it actually scars and it can't grow back, like those follicles are dead and that's that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went through that very, I have to say, depressing process of losing hair.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you like
Especially
your
if
hair.
you're saying like even the fact that you just always loved playing with your
Yeah.
hair and doing different things.
Yeah.
And as a woman, I mean, I
your
always say the
crowning
women who
glory.
completely shave everything off, I'm like, props to you.
Yes, yes.
That's a very brave thing to do.
It is.
No,
It
we're
is.
not our hair, but yeah, that
Yeah,
must have
yeah.
been.
It was stressful.
Who did you talk to about that? Did you
Man, at the
Did you
time,
keep it
I
to
mean,
yourself?
I talked to my mom, I talked to my sister. I mean, I did what I could. It was one of those things where you're hurting. Of course, you're like, man, I don't know what to do. Because it's one of those things that just, every day you wake up and you're like, man, am I really losing my hair? Really? So you're trying to find, you know, just actively trying to find what you can do to fix it. And man, I did it all. I went to the dermatologist, you know,
Yeah.
did all the medications, and I mean, they helped. All that stuff really helps.
helped.
The problem with the specific kind of alopecia that I have is that there's no permanent like cure. There's no thing that's going to grow your hair back, and then that's that. So I was on medication for a long time, and my hair was growing normally. But once I stopped the medication, I started to lose it again. So then that's when I was like, I'm done with medication. I was just tired. I was like, I can't always be in the sprays and the pills and the, you know. So then I decided, you know, let me try and see what natural ways I can use to at least maintain, you know, a normal amount of hair, because I'm never going to have a normal amount of hair. I mean, okay, it looks normal. It's easy to hide.
It's so fascinating because now with your YouTube channel and your journey with your hair,
Yeah.
and now it's like God knows how long. I mean, you
Yeah.
have braids, but it's like up to here. It's grown
Yeah.
that long in
You
like
can't tell.
3 years, right?
Yeah, it's been 4.5 now.
4.5 since you cut it all off.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But it's just that it's centered, like it's centered in the crown of my head, so it's not very visible.
For a
It's
lot
just-
of people, they also suffer the.
That's all.
I think that's the most obvious one people
Yeah,
see.
a lot of the time, the hair loss at the edges
Yeah.
tends to be self-inflicted. You know, if you're just working your hair too hard, you know, the
Yeah,
braids are too
braids
tight.
for too long.
The things that like you're doing too much. That traction, it's called traction alopecia.
Okay.
But that's actually that's one of the few reversible types of alopecia.
Okay,
Yeah, if
okay.
you catch it in time, you can grow your hair back.
Okay, but sorry, you were saying your specific kind is only...
Yeah, so it's centered in the crown, so it just starts in the crown and kind of starts to spread. So what I do is just, I try to find natural ways to try and keep it localized, to keep the problem in one place, stop it from spreading. So I talk about this stuff all the time on my channel. Massaging is a very important part of hair care, like especially if you just have a delicate scalp. Massaging your hair, natural oils. There's just a lot of little things you can do to just try and stimulate hair growth as much as possible, and just like accept me. I just accepted that, and I'm
this
glad
is something you're living with. Yeah, that's
and
part
also
of you.
I think the wonderful thing about natural hair is that it really does hide the problem. If I had treated hair, it would be more obvious.
Yeah,
it would be more obvious. But because it's natural,
And the
it's just
chemicals would
fluffy.
probably aggravate it as well.
They would. It's one of the first things they tell you when you start losing your hair. The dermatologists are like, if you're treating your hair, this might be the time to stop. Like, just leave it alone and just try something else.
So when you finally decided to open up about it and talk about it, did you manage to hear from like other people who are dealing with it?
Yes, that was actually the best part. I feel like so many people thought they were in it alone. Because even me, I didn't know any other woman of my age that was losing her hair. I was in my early 20s. Why was I losing my hair? It felt so odd. And there were so many women who used to reach out to me at the time. We even still have each other's numbers. We would talk, we would exchange stuff, because there's like hair loss conditioners, hair loss shampoos, and they're not very easy to get here.
Really?
Yeah, so they're easier to get in the US. So sometimes one person would get and be like, you guys, I can get for everyone because I have someone coming. Let's give each other, So we got like our little community and tried to help each other with those issues. And it was really nice just, when somebody else has the same issue.
Yeah.
So it was just nice and we could help each other.
Yeah.
Like, I'm having this issue, what do I do here? So that was really the best part. I was like, okay, this is a terrible thing, but I can help someone else maybe, So yeah, that was it. I think like that little community we had of, we have this kind of issue, how do we help
supporting each other?
Yeah, it was nice.
Okay.
Yeah, we still like talk and just give each other advice, or maybe if you find something, you're like, hey, you guys, is this thing, what do you think? Should we try? Should we leave it alone?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you left Nairobi, you came back here, you took up the job.
Yeah.
How long have you been in that job? should I say? Working with
I
immigration.
think I'm coming on 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you recently shared that you're like in transition, which is part of why you're doing this online course with Tessa.
Yes.
You're in transition now. You're looking at moving from that to going into business.
Yeah.
Your face says it all, which is what most people feel.
Like, sometimes like hearing it out loud is like, I'm really doing this. I'm really doing it. But
Okay.
yeah, that's what I want to do.
Is
I
this
want
something
to.
you've been thinking about for a long time, though?
I have been thinking about.
Or was there something that happened and you're like,
I think the seed was there for a long time, but I just never really gave it like any proper thought. I just didn't really spend time thinking about, could this be my future? Is this something that I could do long term? It's only last year that I started to really like, feel like I need to do something else.
okay.
I don't know, I feel like it's something that a lot of women in their late 20s start to go, it's like this awakening, if I can call it that, where you're just like, you just want to do the things that make you happy and the things that give you fulfillment. And so when I thought about that, I was like, am I doing the very best I could be doing in my life in this job? And I felt that the answer was no.
Okay.
I was like, this is not my absolute, this is not the most I could be doing with my life. There's more. And so that realization, coupled with the encouragement of people who care, just people who tell you, no, I believe that you can do this kind of thing. I believe that you can do that, brought me to that place where I was just sure. Like now I'm sure about where I want to go. And so, and then Tessa came with this digital course and I was like, this is the right time.
Yeah.
This is the time. I want to make the move, so tell me, give
It's
me
funny, they say things actually kind of fall into place. The universe kind of aligns and like, oh, okay, you're telling me what to do now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it came at this time and I was like, yeah, I want to do this. So let me, just have to be really intentional about these things. Because unlike an office job, businesses, you need to be driven. You know, you need to be just very intentional about the stuff you want to do. So I said, course, I'm doing it.
Okay.
Like, let's get in there. Let me learn what I need to learn to make these changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You talked about, like, you know, how you cave into pressure.
Yeah.
Especially from family, because they're the people that love you.
They
The
are.
people that have your best interests at
Yes.
heart. How do they feel about?
Well, I mean, for the most part, I think they're just trying to understand. You know, it's always hard when, I mean, my parents are from a different generation and their idea of success is different,
Yeah.
you know? And it's hard for them, of course, you know, to understand, oh, this is what I want to do and these are the things I love, but I think they're doing their best.
Okay.
They're trying. They're really just doing what they can to support me in whatever way they can. But, you know, yeah, I think it's a, you know, a process. You just take baby steps and maybe one day it will be a little more clearer.
Yeah.
For
Sometimes
them.
they need to see.
Yeah, exactly.
They need to first
you know, because now it's
see.
just ideas. And they're like, but all these ideas. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I understand when I was going into radio, my dad was like,
like,
"What's
what's
that?
this?"
Who works on radio?"
Yeah.
Anyone who I said, "Oh, you know, I'm going to be a journalist," they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're going to be on news. You're going to read the news." Like, no. But once they see, then they understand a lot more.
Yeah. For the longest time, I was like, I know I'm going to work on radio. I was like, this is the work I'm going to do. But then people said, telling me those are not, but that's not a real job. I'm like, it's not?
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm like, are you
What
sure?
about- we were doing that and we're being told that's not a real job. Like, what do you mean? I've done 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. And so, man, that's how the dream starts to die. You know,
Yeah.
you're there. you're
Exactly.
thinking,
That's what
and
I
then
was
your dream
heading
starts
at,
to die.
because sometimes, I mean, you talked about this pressure in the past, and it's important to have a support system as well.
It is.
I mean, it's important, number one, to believe in yourself. That's the most important. So when you say that you're sure,
Yeah.
that's a good place to be.
Yeah, it really is. It's a wonderful place. Just seeing where I've come from, it's a lot of personal growth that has brought me to a place where I can like sit down with someone and be like, no, I know where I'm going now.
Yeah.
I have a plan.
Yeah. So when you said you look back at that time and it was really depressing for you,
Yeah.
yeah. How did you handle that though? Are you the kind of person who keeps yourself busy so you don't have to think about it? Or you just retreat and...
I think I retreat. I retreat into like my space alone. You know, I guess like being by myself sometimes gives me just a little bit more clarity. So just taking some time alone and just like feel the feelings as well. You know, you just need to feel the things. You're feeling sad, like just feel the feelings. You need to cry a bit, just cry a bit, and just
Look for
feeling
the
those
perfect
feelings.
movie.
So just take some time for myself, feel all the feelings, and then like, okay, what am I going to do, you know? And then just find someone to confide in. You know, sometimes you'll be my best friend, sometimes I'll talk to my sister. You know, just find someone to talk to that can help you sometimes just put your thoughts together a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel like retreating has always been a very therapeutic thing for me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's always been, I just take some time for myself, you know, give everybody a bit of space for a time and figure out what Fiona wants. Or, you know.
But sometimes when you do that, people are like, what's wrong?
I know, they worry.
You're
they
so
do.
quiet.
they do, and then you have to just tell them, you know, I'm fine, but I'm going to come to you when I'm ready. Let me take a minute.
Okay. What about dating? Are you dating right now?
Dating? No, I'm single. Single, and that's it. Single like a Pringle. Just,
Single like a
just chilling.
So you're single.
Yes.
And then I found out that you were single and abstaining
Yeah.
as well, which I found very interesting.
Yeah.
I think I might have spoken to a few other ladies who are actually doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Were you in a relationship for a while and then you decided?
Abstinence is something that I knew for a long time I wanted, like, for myself. Like, even when I was younger, I was like, I'm going to abstain. I'm going to wait. And then you know, you grow, you go to campus, you're experimenting or whatever. And then, you know, that changed, that situation changed. But as I got older, I think maybe when I was what, 25-ish? No, actually, maybe even before that. I must have been like 24. I was like, I just like took a step back and I was like, what are the things that matter to me? You know,
Okay.
what are the things that matter to me? And number one was Christ. You know, at that time, you know, I recommitted my life to Christ, and among the many things that I wanted to change was that I said, you know what, this doesn't have to be a part of my life. You know, I can be happy. I can be in a happy relationship. I can be single without sex. It just, it did. I reached a point where it was just like, I don't have to have sex to be happy,
Yeah.
or you know, and just it was both from a point of faith, but also just like from me, just as a person. I just felt like I can practice that restraint. Like it doesn't have to be. It's funny that it's only in these recent years that we're realizing that even sex can be an addiction, just like alcohol or anything else. You know, that any of these things. I said, you know, if people can
And you
restrain
give a
from
lot
alcohol,
of yourself
you do.
when
you
you
really
do have sex with
You
someone.
do. You do. You really share like some very intimate parts of who you are, and to be honest, parts you'll never get back. Like there are certain things that you share, like not
Yes.
just physically, but like emotionally and spiritually. That just that's that. Like you can't take those things back. And I realized that it was just too precious. Like those parts of myself I wanted to keep. You know, and sometimes when you talk about abstinence, people are like, hey, she's dressing like she's a virgin. I'm like, no, I'm not, but like I'm not, but you know, it's a conscious decision that I've made, you know, for my life moving forward. And I think that you should just be free to choose what makes you happy.
Okay.
You know, because I don't judge anyone who has decided to live their life a different way.
Exactly.
Never.
You have a
I don't.
choice.
Yeah, you get to choose. Choose what makes you happy and do that. Like whatever gives you peace. And that's just what gives me peace. I feel like that's a place for me that I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people I talk to say dating is difficult. Dating
It
is
is.
complicated.
It can be.
Yes. Already. And
Yeah.
then you've decided you're
Yeah.
dating, but also abstinence is part and parcel.
Yeah, it's
How is that though?
wow, it's
Because I
something
imagine you
else.
have to meet someone who is
Yeah.
like-minded.
yeah, that is not an easy thing, obviously. I don't know.
Especially in the world today.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially a woman of a certain age. I mean, I'm 29. So it's like, first of all, you're already in this space where people are like looking at you like you're an old maiden or something. You know, they're like, you know, when are you getting married? What's the problem? You know?
Oh no.
And on my own, I don't feel that pressure. I don't, like, I feel good. I feel like I'm a good place in my life. But it is a complicated thing to date. When you're abstaining, you know, you meet people and it's something you have to be forward about because you never want to appear to be something you're not.
Of course.
You know, because expectations should be, you know. So, I mean, what can I say? It is difficult.
Have you managed to find someone like in this time? Because you said from 24 you
Yeah.
made the decision.
Yeah,
Have you found someone in this time who you felt like you were on the same page?
sis. The stories I could tell.
Please do share some of them.
I mean, I've met some decent guys. Like, I don't want to say that. I mean, there were some very decent guys. It's just that if you haven't made that same decision, then it just can't work out.
Okay.
It just can't work out. Because at the end of the day, if I've decided this is important for me and what's important for you is different, then we're just like,
Yeah.
it's just,
You have to
know.
have the same values.
So yeah, I mean, I've met some very nice people, but it just couldn't work out because we're
Was
not doing
it
the same
more a
thing.
matter of, if we're being honest,
Yeah.
was it that it was fine in the beginning and then there was pressure?
A
It
lot of the
seemed
time.
like someone changed on you,
Yeah.
or someone tried, but
I
then
think
they
both,
just
maybe because I mean sometimes it's because I'm always very forward about it. It's something I talk about very early on in a relationship because it's only fair to
Yeah.
be clear about,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
and sometimes, you know, someone genuinely likes you and cares about you and feels that I could make this change for this person, but then realizes over the time that maybe I can't, you know. So there's that. Or sometimes, I don't know, then of course there's, those unfortunate times where someone is just straight up lying to your face. It's lying to your face.
It's lying.
It's lying. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, the stories I could tell, but yeah, it's really, it can get a little bit, yeah. So,
Okay.
some people are honest, and some people are just like, maybe I could, but then they realize they can't. So I think that's why I'm at a point where I realize, like, man, if I meet someone and that's just not their path, then man, maybe we're just supposed to be friends.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
So how is your attitude now towards dating? Because I can imagine.
It's okay. Like, I mean, I'm
Are you
fine.
still open to dating?
I am open to dating. I'm in a space where I'm very comfortable to date. I just also know, the things that I can deal with and the things that I can't. Because, man, a woman of a certain age, honestly, really, where I have reached, there are some things that I know I can deal with and things I can't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess I'm a little more certain. And sometimes when you're a lot more sure of yourself, that can be intimidating for guys. Yeah, it can be a little bit intimidating. I think they feel like, I don't know, they feel what they feel. But I just try to be myself, and I'm open to dating. I mean, why not?
Okay. Now, when you were talking about, like, people asking you, when are you getting married and that pressure, I feel like there's something I always need to, people have a choice. There's some people actually happier when they're on their own.
True.
I mean, I know someone, I will not throw anyone under the bus, but she's like, relationship for
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
I need to be alone.
Yeah.
I like to be alone. I don't want someone around me. And for that reason, she has decided. And she's very happy that way, which
Yeah.
means that you can be very happy when you're single.
You really, I think that you should be able to choose whatever makes you the happiest. Like, props to her, in fact. Like, wow.
I was
love
like,
to
really?
hear.
Really? Like, she's like,
Good for her. I mean, she knows. If she knows what she wants, then that is fantastic. It's like this conversation. I remember recently having a conversation about how some people don't want kids, and I know that that blows some people's minds because the assumption is that
people say,
everything.
that's so selfish. I'm like, what does that mean? Why are you
Yeah.
selfish for not wanting to have kids?
It's crazy to me because I feel like all these things are a calling. That's genuinely how I feel. I don't feel like every person has the same calling. Just like how Crystal was called to be certain things, Fiona was not. She was called to be some other things.
Yes.
So it baffles me a bit when people feel like, no, but this one thing is for everyone.
Yes.
I'm like, but is it? What if there's some people that that's like saying, okay, what about people who have decided to be chaste for their lives, like a nun or something? Do you feel that they don't have fulfillment or don't have joy?
Yeah.
You just can't. Sometimes you just make some really rash judgments about people's lives, and you just don't know. You don't know what their calling is or what makes them truly happy, and they should be able to choose.
Yeah, they should. Specifically when it comes to having kids. I mean, yes, life is a gift, but there's so many children who have been brought into the world and are not wanted.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they will still find love, but yeah, if you don't want to have kids and you have no interest in being a parent, please save us.
True. It's you should be able to choose. Yeah.
Okay.